What's the difference between reach and impressions? How can you use the insights within Instagram to understand what sort of content your audience resonates with the most? Why is understanding your analytics even important? I'm going to tell you why in this video. What's up everyone, it's Modern Millie. Welcome back to my channel where I post videos every Wednesday teaching the latest strategies and trends on social media to help bloggers, influencers, and content creators grow their brands. So give a little love tap on that subscribe button to stay up to date on the latest tips and tricks that other people just aren't telling you. First, I want to say a huge thank you to this video's shoutouts. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for all of you. So if you want to get a shout out in one of my future videos, screenshot yourself watching this video and tag me on Instagram stories, or leave a comment below and subscribe to my channel. As always, timestamps will be in the comments below because I know how valuable your time is and you already know why you're here. So let's get into it. First, I'm going to explain all the important terms that you need to understand in your insights section if you have a creator's account. If you do not have a creator account, then your insight section might look a little bit different than mine, and that's okay. There is different terminology that is unique to posts, stories, and some terminology that is related to both. While some of these might be a little bit more obvious than others, I wanted to make sure I covered every single aspect within the insights section. First, let's talk about the terminology that is unique to your in-feed posts. Comments, the number of comments that are on your post. This can be left by other people or yourself. Engagement, the number of individual accounts that have liked, commented, or saved your post. Likes, obviously the number of likes that post has received, and saves, which is the number of unique accounts that have saved your post. Now let's go into the terminology that is unique to just stories. First we have back, which is the number of times people have tapped backwards on that story slide. Exited, which is the number of times people have exited that specific story slide. Link clicks, if you have a swipe up option or your IGTV video linked to a story, that will be how many times people followed through with your link. Next, the number of times people tapped forwards on your story, and replies, the number of replies that story has received. And replies are all messages that obviously get sent to you via DM. Now we're going to go over terminology that is related to both posts and stories. So you might see the option calls. This is going to be the number of times people have tapped the call button on your Instagram profile from your post or story. Emails, if you have an email attached to your Instagram account, this is going to be the number of times people have tapped email on your Instagram profile from your post or story. Follows, this is going to be the number of accounts that started following you because of your post or story. Get directions, if you have an address attached to your Instagram account, this is going to be the number of users who tapped get directions because of your post or story. Impressions. This is going to be the total number of times that your post or story had been seen, including repeat views. Whether they engaged with it or not, it is how many times your post or story had been seen. Profile visits, the number of users that visited your Instagram profile from your post or story. Reach is the number of unique accounts that had seen any of your posts or stories. This is different than impressions because it does not include repeat views. Impressions is the total number of times that your post or story had been seen by people. It could be repeated. If I view someone's story and then later I want to go back and watch the story again, that'll add their impressions because I keep going back to watch their story or I keep going back to their post, it increases their impressions. Whereas with reach, if I go back to that person's story or go back to that person's post, it doesn't count the amount of times that I keep going back. It just counts me as one. So they reached my profile one time. Next we have shares, which is the number of times your post or story had been shared. Texts, and if you have a phone number attached to your Instagram, this will be the amount of times that unique accounts had clicked that text option on your profile. And lastly, we have website clicks. So that is the number of users who have clicked on the link in your Instagram profile bio following your post or through your story. Okay, well, we're already 12 minutes in. We just went over terminology. Now that we understand what all of these things mean, we could truly wrap our minds around how our posts are performing, what resonates well with our audience, and what we can do with our content in future posts to increase the quality and engagement. Okay, now we're going to dive into the back end of my Instagram profile, look at my insights, and I'm going to show you guys how I study my insights to create future content and see what works and what doesn't. On my profile, the top right, click Insights. Or you could just click Insights. Why do I always do that? Now, there are two different aspects that you could study within your profile. You can study the posts and see what types of posts resonate well with your audience, and you could also study your stories. Before I dive into posts, I'm just going to show you the back end of what this looks like. So first, we're looking at content. It shows you the overview. By each of their categories, they have a little eye with a circle around it, and that'll give you more info of what that specific category means. So what's an overview? This set of insights displays the total number of posts and stories you created this week. Posts, posts, number of posts created this week, stories, number of stories. Then you could go to activity. Under discovery, you could click the information to see what discovery is. It'll show you the difference between reach and impressions. This is showing how many accounts that my profile reached between October 23rd and 29th. So here's my reach, the amount of unique profiles that I reached, and then impressions that includes any time somebody came back to my profile or back to my account. Interactions, it explains that this set of insights measures the actions people take when they engage within your account. So profile visits, website clicks, email clicks. And then with anything that has a graph, you can tap and it'll show the more exact numbers. The audience section, this shows your overall growth. It's funny because it says between August 29th and October 22nd, I've only gained 2,000 followers, but that's actually not true because at the beginning of September-ish, I had 14,000 followers and now I'm almost at 24,000 followers. So these numbers are just estimates. They say that under activity and discovery, it says these are just estimates. So I don't always use this to track my growth. I like to use a website called Social Blade. On Social Blade, I type in my either Instagram account or my YouTube account, and that's how I track my growth a little bit more precisely. You get to see the top locations of your followers. Countries, I think 47% is in the United States. Age range, it seems to be, most of my followers are between the age of 25 and 34. You can organize it by men, women, or both. And then it says that 77% of my followers are women. And at the bottom, it shows you the best hours for posting. If you want to choose a specific day, you could choose a specific day and see what hour on that day works best. Or if you just want to see which days your users are the most active. Okay, now that we have a quick overview of the back end of your insights, let's go into how I study my analytics. First, I'm going to study my posts. So I'm going to click See All. And I don't want to organize it for the past year because during the beginning of the pandemic, I took like a 3 or 4 month break to get myself back on track with my brand. So I know the content that I've been posting the past 3 to 6 months is probably going to be more relevant. So I'm actually going to change this 1 year to maybe the past 3 months. So I'm going to play around with different ways to filter this. So I'm going to look at the reach, see the top maybe 9 posts. Okay, like what I'm seeing. And then I'm going to go to engagement. I really want to increase my engagement. So I'm going to see what already did really well. Engagement. Okay, so there's a few that are the same and a few new ones. It looks like this one is still a top performer. So I'm going to study 1, what photo did I post? 2, what was the caption? So you need to focus on 2 things, the photo itself and the caption. So with this one, it was more body positivity, very authentic. And then this one, wedding photos always do well. So I'm just going to skip that one. Although I do notice that pictures of me and John tend to do really well. So I'll just file that little nugget in my brain. This one, okay, talking about social media, the photo's pretty cool. This one, photo's pretty cool. 5 apps, programs that keep my business running. Okay, that seems to be a good one because the photo matched the caption. I talked about running in the caption and the photo was about running. So I could see how that tied together. As you can see what I'm doing, I'm just studying, okay, what's been doing well? What sort of captions does my audience seem to really like? Now, after I've studied and took note of what type of content did really well, I also want to scroll to the very bottom and see what content didn't do well. Scrolling down. Okay, interesting. This is really interesting because a lot of my Topic Tuesday videos didn't perform well. So I tried to feature other people on my page. I put their photos. As you can tell, the entire 3, 6, 9, 11 bottom posts, but nothing that's like of me posing, smiling, looking at the camera. I should probably post content where I'm always in frame. Whereas content with other people or like this one, I'm not in it. That one just didn't do well. So I should probably stay away from posting that sort of content. But now I want to know, okay, well, if I am in frame, what doesn't do well? So let's take a look at this one. You know, with this one, I'm not a fan of the edit. This one is about misconception about batching content. So maybe people didn't know what batching content was, so they didn't really care about the misconception. So maybe I need to teach what is batching content and how it can improve your business. This was a collaboration, so maybe that was too obviously collab. I need to work on my collab content. This one, I didn't really post anything insightful in the first line. I just said you are far too smart to be the only thing standing in your way. I guess my content performs a little bit better when I have that like attention grabbing first line. Also, something that I want to study is the saved. What are my most saved photos? It looks like my most saved photo was a freebie that I created. So this is a little clue to me like, okay, maybe these freebies do well. Maybe I need to post more freebies and get people to save that content. And it also helps build my email list. So that's a good thing to know. video. Looks like a lot of people really were inspired by this type of photo. I can start incorporating more movement to my photo. I used to be a dancer, so how can I incorporate that? More jumps, maybe kicks, some tricks. Obviously, I would be writing all these things down for future ideas. And then another thing that's interesting was, while this video wasn't the best with engagement, it seems to be in the top 9 for saves. So that means the information that I was providing within the video was savable and people really valued that information. I think you guys get the gist of it. Now let's go to stories. So something I've noticed with stories is when I'm posting more consistently on my stories, my reach and views go up. If I post every 2 hours, that increases my views. This day I know I didn't post a lot, but then the day after I did post more frequently. So yeah, that just goes to show the more frequently you post, the more reach your stories will get and the more views they'll get. Okay, now let's just open one of these and swipe up. When you swipe up, you can actually see more insights and analytics on the story. So you can see how many profiles I got from it, how many people tapped on the sticker or the person that I tagged in the story. Under discovery, I had no follows, which is fine. Usually I don't get follows from stories unless I use a hashtag or I tag a location and somebody sees my story from looking at that hashtag story or from looking at that location's story. And then you have the navigation, back, forward, next, and exited. The difference between forward and next, forward is they're tapping forward, whereas next they swipe to go to the next person's story. All right, so we're done looking at the back end of my Instagram, but I do want to give you guys one other tip when it comes to studying your insights and studying your analytics. Do it frequently. I try to do it every month. At the end of every month, I study the last month's posts, the last month's stories, see what's doing well and what's not doing well so that I'm able to stay up to date on what sort of content my audience likes. That's it. Make sure you are doing monthly check-ins with yourself and your analytics so you're always thinking and always working towards improvement. If you've made it this far and you're not already subscribed, then you might as well hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell notifications to be notified for when I post future videos. Give a thumbs up on this video if you learned something new, like the difference between reach and impressions. That is all that I have for you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Follow your joy. Bye.